There's a pattern you don't see yet. It doesn't announce itself. No warning, no signal. Doesn't even feel like control. It feels like you care more than most people, like you notice things others miss. Small shifts, tone changes, that pause before someone replies. That's where it starts. Sensitivity isn't just a trait here. It's access, a way in. And once something gets in, it doesn't need to force anything. You keep it going. Look at it closely. This pattern doesn't start with something obvious. It's quieter than that. You meet someone and something doesn't fully settle. Not toxic, not safe either. Just inconsistent. Warm one moment, distant the next. Open, then gone. Subtle. Most people feel that and step back. You don't. You move closer. Ignoring signals isn't how your mind works. It latches onto them. Why did their tone change? Why did that message feel different? Why are they quieter now? You don't just notice. You start trying to figure it out. That's the moment. Right there. Because inconsistency isn't random. It creates this tension. Just enough to stay. Not enough to feel settled. And your sensitivity stretches it. Where someone else shrugs it off, you stay with it. Sit in it a little longer. Try to make sense of it. So you start filling the gaps. They're probably busy. Something must have happened. Maybe I said something wrong. Look at that again. You're turning uncertainty into something that makes sense. And once it makes sense, you let it pass. Even when you probably shouldn't. That's the shift. Control doesn't come from what they do. It comes from how you make sense of it. The moment you explain it, your reaction softens. It's not a signal anymore. It's something to manage. Now it tightens. Not loudly, quietly. You start monitoring, checking how they text, how fast they reply. That one word they used instead of another. You read it once, then again, then again, trying to catch what's underneath. Ever reread a message that felt off? Not because it was clear, but because it wasn't. Yeah, that. Your mind is trying to close something unfinished, and unfinished things don't leave you alone, so your attention stays there, locked. Feels like emotional attachment. It's not exactly that. It's mental. You get hooked on figuring them out. That's the difference. And that's where it deepens. While your focus moves toward them, something else fades. Your boundaries. Watch that shift. You see everything about them, but what you're putting up with gets quieter. You understand why they act like this, but you stop asking if it's okay. You give context. Take away consequence. And without consequence, nothing really changes. It settles. Not into something healthy, just predictable. In its inconsistency. That's not an accident. That's the pattern. At some point, it doesn't even need them anymore. You keep it alive, adjusting, explaining, waiting, feeding it. Now make it real. You send a message. A few minutes later, you check your phone. Nothing. Still nothing. At first it's neutral, then your mind starts moving. Maybe they're busy, maybe they didn't see it, maybe I shouldn't have said that. You open the chat, read your message again. Didn't have to, but you did. That's the system. Nothing actually happened, but something already shifted. Then they reply, short, a bit off. And you feel it, not anger, relief. That matters. Relief means tension was there. And tension, that's what pulls you in. Not to them, to the release. See the loop? They pull away. You feel the drop. They come back. You feel the lift, again and again. Your brain picks it up, starts expecting it. And here's the part people don't like hearing. It starts depending on it, because that relief feels real, even if everything else isn't. At that point, you're not reacting to what they do. You're reacting to what might happen next. Possibilities take over, and those don't end. So your mind keeps scanning, always a step ahead, trying to predict. And prediction builds investment. The more you try to figure someone out, the harder it is to step away. Too much time spent already, too many explanations, maybe that's why. Even when your first instinct was clear, something felt off. You remember that. But now, you hesitate. You don't trust it the same way. You trained yourself out of it. Pause instead of act. Analyze instead of decide. Right there, that hesitation. That's where it stays alive. Look at the signs. You feel anxious when they're distant, but calm the moment they respond. You excuse things you normally wouldn't. You leave conversations drained, but still waiting for the next one. You see the pattern, then tell yourself it's different this time, not random. Same mechanism, same loop. It runs on something simple: uncertainty. That's what pulls you in, and sensitivity makes it stronger. You don't ignore it. You stay in it. Try to solve it. Stay longer than you should. And the longer you stay, the more things start to blur. What used to feel clear isn't anymore. What felt wrong starts making sense. That instinct you had turns into doubt. That's where it gets risky. You start questioning yourself, not because you're wrong, just because you stop trusting it. And once that's gone, you're easier to move. Not in obvious ways, small shifts, tiny adjustments. You adapt without noticing. Now here's what most people miss. You think you're attached to them. You're not. You're attached to the cycle, the tension, the release. That moment things feel okay again, even if it never lasts. And your sensitivity keeps you there, tracking everything, trying to stay ahead, trying to control something that was never stable. And while you're doing that, something already changed. You lost your position. You stopped asking the real question, is this good for me? And replaced it with something else. How do I make this work? That's it. That's where it locks. Now, you're not watching the pattern. You're holding it together. You're inside it. And as long as you stay there, it keeps running. That's why leaving feels hard. Not because you don't see it, because you built too much around it. Too many reasons, too many explanations, too many ways to stay, even when it feels off. And the longer it stays, the more familiar it feels. And familiar doesn't feel dangerous. It just feels normal, even when it isn't. That's how sensitivity gets used. Not because it's weak, because it's always turned outward. No limit. The system doesn't want you numb. It wants you aware. Just not of the right thing. Because as long as you're trying to understand them, you're not stepping away. And without distance, you don't really see it. So it keeps going, quiet, consistent, easy to miss, until something clicks. Not outside, inside. You start seeing it. How it builds, how it keeps you there, how it uses your own awareness. And once you see it, really see it, something breaks. Feels like a choice. It's not. Because the moment it becomes visible, it can't sit the same way anymore. And after that, it doesn't hold you like it did.